It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, gonna rock and roll. Riding on the highway, going to a show. Stopping on the byway, playing rock and roll. Getting round, getting stoned, getting beat up, getting a bone, getting high, getting shook. Watch all your folks, it's harder than it looks. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's easy to do one night stands. Try playing a rock and roll band. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll.
Good evening, folks. I'm your host, Caden Reif, and welcome back to another installment of the 2007 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. We're here for the penultimate race of the 2007 season, number 35 of 36. It is the Sirius Old-Fashioned Brawl 400 from North Wilkesboro. The Cup Series returns to this fabled short track here as we get set under the lights for the second to last race of this season as the championship fight continues here tonight. As we take you right away to the racetrack for your starting lineup in tonight's race, as Elliott Sadler in the 83 car is going to qualify on pole here today, with Greg Biffle in the 16 to his outside. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 will start from the third position, and Kevin Harvick will be in fourth. Matt Kenseth in the 17. Last week's winner in another fantastic finish on the West Coast. Got his first win in over 3 years. He'll be in fifth. And sixth place goes to Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. Tony Stewart, championship runner-up, in the 7th position, and 8th place belongs to Jeff Gordon. 9th is going to be Scott Limmer, and Brad Keselowski rounds out the top 10. Clint Boyer in the 4 starts from 11th, and Juan Pablo Montoya will be in 12th. Carl Edwards, P13 here tonight, with 14th going to Kurt Busch. Todd Bodine in the 15th position, with Scott Riggs starting in 16th. Ricky Hendrick will be P17, and John Andretti in 18th place. 19th, that'll be Justin Allgaier, with Casey Kane in 20th. Your points leader, DJ Kennington, not a great qualifying for the 81 car, but he'll start 21st. JJ Yeley in the 22nd position alongside him. Ryan Newman in 23rd, and 24th is going to be Johnny Sauter. Excuse me. Casey Mears is going to start in 25th, and Jamie McMurray in the 26th position. Martin Truex Jr. will be 27th, and Casey Atwood in 28th. 29th, that'll be Kyle Busch. Jason Leffler in the 30th position. 31st will be Ron Hornaday Jr. and Jeff Burton in 32nd. AJ Allmendinger in the 07 in 33rd, and David Rudeman in the 06 in 34th. Jeffrey Bodine in the 7 car. He'll be 35th place with Jeremy Mayfield in 36th. Shane Meal starts 37th place with Bobby Labonte in 38th. Robbie Gordon will leave Heat 39, and Eric Norris in 40th. And rounding out the field back row will be Morgan Shepherd in the 89 and Ricky Craven in the 96. 42 car field as always. It's 150 laps here from North Wilkesboro. The Cup Series making their triumphant return here to this very beaten and born, excuse me, kind of stumbling over my words there, but nonetheless, here at North Wilkesboro, as we take it to the racetrack, it's the old-fashioned Brawl 400 brought to you by Sirius XM, and we will take you to the racetrack for the command, the most famous words in motorsports here from North Wilkesboro.
Drivers, start them engines!
Field roars to life as we get set to roll with Elliott Sadler and Greg Biffle on the front row. 150 lapper here from the short track as we get set to go. The penultimate race of this 2007 season. North Wilkesboro, big wild card in this championship hunt. And Tony Stewart, the veteran, takes advantage of his good starting spot coming into today's race. Starts inside the top 10. Kennington just outside the top 20, both on the inside line. That's where you want to be at this racetrack. This place is going to be a cheese grater for tires over the course of this run. Very old surface, a lot of bumps, a lot of banging. Going to be fun to see this field race here at North Wilkesboro. Busch Series already visited this racetrack earlier this year. But it's going to be Elliott Sadler in the 83 car leading the field to the green flag. Off of turn 4, pace car is in. Penultimate round of the 2007 season is underway as we race towards turn 1. Up to speed, Sadler from the pole, off and into the lead as they leave turn 4. Junior trying to take away second. You see Tony Stewart moving forward there on the bottom since the start of the race, trying to find his way into the top 10 as it's the two Roush teammates side by side for third place. Talked about it in the pre-race. The bottom is the spot you want to be in at this racetrack. It is very, very hard to stick it around the outside. We see these guys do manage to stay with the guys they're side by side with, but it is very hard to run that top and run it fast, and you see the back end of the field stacking up quite a lot. And the 54 car is already in the pit lane. That's Jeremy Mayfield, looking like issues on the opening lap for the 54. It looks like he got turned on the backstretch and slid into the pit lane. That is going to result in an early yellow flag, as NASCAR going to want to clear that debris with the 54 getting turned by Morgan Shepherd on the opening lap of this race. Caution flag comes out as the 54 went for a spin down pit road. Sadler leads the field around and off of turn 4 back to the first yellow flag in tonight's race. And right away we have ourselves a caution here in North Wilkesboro. Looking like a lot of the field is going to elect to come down pit road early in the running. As Elliott Sadler, the race leader, leads everybody who elects to come in down pit lane. Matt Kenseth in the 17, last week's winner, is going to stay out to take away the lead here. Majority of the field is in pit road from the looks of things. A lot of stacking up at the back of the field trying to get into pit road. It is a quick entrance to the pit lane under yellow flag at this track. But looking like it is going to be fuel only for the majority of the field, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the race off of pit road, and there you saw Tony Stewart gets out in front of Sadler. So we are under caution for the first time here from North Wilkesboro's Matt Kenseth, the early leader after the first lap incident involving the 54 Mayfield. It's the Sirius old-fashioned Brawl 400 here from North Wilkesboro's 17 out front, and it is NASCAR on ESPN, and we will be right back. Back from intermission here at North Wilkesboro as we get set to go green. Matt Kenseth in the 17 car stays out to take the lead. No tires by any of the pitters, but the 17 will be in first. Boyer, the 4, in second place on the restart here as Jimmy Johnson with his late season momentum will be third. Ryan Newman in fourth, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., first car off of pit road in the 5th position. Tony Stewart, championship runner-up, restarting in 7th. It'll be 22nd place for DJ Kennington, your points leader, as Stewart trying to pick up some points here late in this championship hunt, give himself a better shot going into Homestead. Kenseth leads the field in the restart box off of 4, and the green flag is in the air, and we are right back underway. Racing off into turn number 1. Johnson and Boyer, a good start, and the 48 right away found a nose underneath that 4 of Boyer, and Stewart got shuffled up to the outside lane further back. Johnson quickly moves up the position into the 2nd spot. Kenseth and Johnson, 1st and 2nd place finishers last week at California. Now into the 1st and 2nd position again here tonight. Eight of Jeff Burton down pit road. Believe that was a restart violation on him. Appeared to have been a stop and go. First battle on track, Jeffrey Bodine, one of the cars who stayed out, side by side with Stewart for the 7th position, as the 42 will move past him for that spot. You can see Kennington starting to pick up some positions back there, moving into the top 20. Trying to make some headway. Jeff Gordon also down pit road now. A couple of laps after the green flag, so you would have to imagine might have been an incident of some kind. Might have had a little bit of right side damage on that 24. Though I'm not seeing a lot of it. Yeah, I caught the wall on the green flag, so Jeff Gordon goes down pit road. Couple of pitters unscheduled under green flag. The 84 as well also appears to a pit for damage repair. Johnson and Kenseth in a battle for the race lead right now. 17 holding off that 48 at the moment. Very early on in the running here from Wilkesboro. See the lap car Montoya rejoin the racetrack in front of the 17 and the 48. Doesn't seem like that traffic will be an issue, as Kenseth several car lengths behind Montoya at the moment. Wilkesboro, not an easy track to pass at. This racing surface is very old. It's more of a driver's track than a racing track. We see these guys really have to work their wheels around this lap. How many potholes, pavement coverings there are over the course of this lap. And it is a tough racing facility to get around for these drivers. Another car down pit road. That's the 07 of Allmendinger with some damage on the right side. Seeing a lot of drivers in the mid-pack slap the wall, have to come in for damage. As mentioned, not an easy track to get around, and we've got issues. Casey Mears has some engine trouble, and he is going to come to a stop on the racing surface, and the second caution of the race is out. And watch out for the leaders on the front stretch, and Boyer gets into him. Earnhardt Jr.'s in it. And they're wrecking big on the front stretch. And this is a huge pile-up. My goodness. Boyer got into the oil there on the front stretch, you would have to think, and that piled a good half of the field up in that accident, as we're under caution for the second time in tonight's race. Field coming down pit road now, and that took a good 15 cars out of this race. Wow. And Clint Boyer, what an unlucky spot for that 4 car. Junior, Sadler the pole sitter. Stewart managed to find a way around it. That was a lucky break for the 42. Kennington got a small piece of it. I don't think it's really going to play a lot in the big scheme of things. But my goodness. Oh, and contact leaving pit road for Harvick and Johnson, and now the 48 has damage on his race car. My goodness, what is going on under yellow flag here? So we're going to give you a replay of the accident here on the front stretch that just took Boyer and many others out of this race. It was Mears in the 55 who came to a stop with the engine trouble, could not get off of the racing line, and Boyer ran straight into him and nowhere for so many quick cars to go. Harvick into it. Edwards. You see Atwood with nowhere to go. Kennington got a piece of it. Not a lot of damage on that 81 car, but a lot of cars piling into that. Kurt Busch. And just the pandemonium on the front stretch. So the caution flag flies for the second time here in Wilkesboro. A lot of damage on pit road. Kenseth, the race leader. Lap number 21 here from Wilkesboro. It's the 17 in the lead here in the Sirius Old-Fashioned Brawl 400. And we'll take it to intermission. NASCAR and ESPN, and we'll be right back. Back from intermission here at North Wilkesboro as we get set to go green. A lot of cars, and I mean a lot, taken out in that last incident. About 10 or more involved that were taken out of the race with Mears stopped on the front stretch. A lot of oil there. Saw the 4 run over and get into the 55, and that started the pileup. Matt Kenseth going to restart the race leader here. Second is going to be Jimmy Johnson. Third, Ryan Newman. Fourth, Tony Stewart. And Greg Biffle in fifth. DJ Kennington will restart in 12th. A lot of damaged cars. A lot of cars were involved in incidents on pit road. You saw Harvick and Johnson got into each other in the pits. 48's got some damage on the right side of his car. We'll see how that affects the 48. Coming to the restart here, lap number 26 for Kenseth, and the green flag is back in the air. Johnson going to get filtered out of line right quick by the 38 of Newman, who moves underneath of him for the second spot. Stewart trying to move into third. Newman left a lot of bottom open, but Tony not able to get the nose underneath of the 38 as Newman into second place. So Run continues. Johnson falling backwards quickly with the damage on his car. 07 of Allmendinger, a lap car, thanks to the problem he had to come down pit road for. And the 84 of Montoya came down pit road for another pit stop. Seeing quite a few drivers hit the wall multiple times, have to come in for a lot of repairs. This track has not been kind to people tonight. Big stack up at the front of the field. 5 cars, all top 5 in a line here. 6, including that lap car of Allmendinger, who is currently the highest lap car, if I'm not mistaken. All of them 2 laps down or more. Due to their damage repair. Couple of Fords up front. See Kennington back there in the 11th position now is the 81 car. And Stewart gets filtered up to the top for 3rd. Here comes Biffle on the bottom, Johnson in the 48. And one thing we didn't get the chance to mention is the championship scenario coming into this penultimate race for the 42 and the 81. As Stewart washes up the track a little bit, keeps it out of the fence. Kennington does have to finish in front of Stewart to clinch the championship. 158 points is the magic number. If I'm not mistaken, it is 152 coming into tonight's race. And that 158, if Stewart is to not win the pole next week at Homestead, as Newman got a huge piece of the wall there from the 2nd position. Falls down multiple spots, and now Biffle makes it a Roush 1-2. It is 152 points, so that number was correct. That number would turn into 153. And of course, Kennington has the tiebreaker on wins. So Stewart is right on the nose. If him and Kennington were to earn the same amount of points in this race, he would have to sweep the race itself and not necessarily have to win pole if he were to contend for the championship going into next week at Homestead. Of course, he's wanting to finish well in front of Kennington, but that's not looking too hot considering that 81 is once again, like he did at California, starting to move forward. You have to imagine that disastrous final restart has to be just nipping at the mind of that 42 car, who had such a good race and was significantly better than Kennington all night long, just to end up on the short end of the stick thanks to that late race restart where he lost 10 or more positions and fell behind Kennington. And now finds himself in an even deeper hole in this 2007 Cup Championship. So 5th place for Stewart right now. Kennington in 8th as he continues his march forward. Still Kenseth out in the race lead, with Biffle in 2nd and 3rd belonging to Jimmy Johnson. The 16-17 duo, Roush, has just looked absolutely perfect over these last couple of weeks. Biffle has been so competitive. Kenseth has continued to run up front, finally got that win he's been looking for, and Roush just... It's been such a rebound season for these two teams. When you think back to the struggles they were having in 2005 and 6. And Biffle and Kenseth really turning the fortunes around of this team. Mears, of course, planning to join that team next season. Biffle sticking in the 16 car. It is going to be a bright, bright future for Roush going into next year. They have ended this year on a high note, and they're looking to continue that here tonight as Kenseth and Biffle still continuing to lead here from North Wilkesboro. Kennington, the 81, up another spot. And if the 81 were to finish in front of Stewart in any capacity in today's race, even if it's just by a spot, And in fact, if it were only just a spot, it would force the 42 to have to get pole next week at Homestead in order for the 42 to remain in the championship fight. And now Kennington underneath of Allgaier, the 02 car, for the 6th position, trying to make it one spot between him and Stewart. And he gets past Allgaier. Stewart working on Newman. That is for the 4th position. Damage on that 38 car after slapping the wall. Saw that a couple of laps ago. Tony, got to be thinking that he's trying to move forward in a hurry to keep Kennington behind him. He needs it for the championship. And it would still be a far-fetched championship if things were to end with these two right next to each other. We've talked about it over and over and over again over the last couple of weeks, how difficult it has been for Stewart and Kennington, as Kennington got the wall. Little bit of a brush of the fence by the 81. Drops off of Newman a little. Looking no worse for wear. But he falls behind just a little bit. But of course, these two just unable to get away from each other, and over again, it just seemed like a little bit of points to Kennington week after week. And that Talladega win really is the big thing for Kennington in this championship hunt. Such a wild card race that Stewart didn't finish very well in. It really gave Kennington the edge in this championship fight. David Rudeman in pit road, lap number 46. Kennington looking on Newman for the 5th spot, trying to dive it in there to turn 1, couldn't quite pull it off. You're going to see a lot of these guys up front have longer pit stops here in the first cycle if we get a green flag cycle. I would imagine a lot of drivers are going to come in and take a lot of damage repair. Of course, Johnson's got damage on the right side of his race car. A lot of members of the top 10. Allgaier has damage, has a bit of damage on the front of the 30. Would expect a lot of these drivers to have to take some repairs and potentially take them further out of the fight. Still a comfortable lead for Kenseth in the 17 right now, leading his teammate Biffle. Both of these drivers with recent wins to their name. Biffle, a winner at Rockingham 3 weeks ago, and Kenseth with his first win of 2007 at California last weekend. And here in the winter months, just continuing this strong stretch. Johnson hasn't fallen off despite the damage on the right side of his race car. Kennington still trying to find a way around Newman for 5th. Hasn't been able to make headway on that 38 Ford just yet. 1/3 of the way through here in North Wilkesboro. A couple of other noteworthy drivers having good runs. Of course, Allgaier in that 02 car, despite the damage on the left side of his Sonic Pontiac, running in the 7th position. A great run for him, has continued to show this Cup prowess over the course of his part-time season in that 02 car. And he runs into top 10 once again. Shane Neal, another strong performance in the 47. He's 9th. Good run for him as he gears up for his full-time Cup debut next year. And Todd Bodine in the 77 car, rounding out the top 10. Competitive run on another short track for this 77 team. Those are the noteworthy runners in the top 10. Jimmy Johnson, 48, making a move underneath a Biffle here for the 2nd position. And through 3 and 4, he is going to complete that pass. So Jimmy Johnson moves into the runner-up position. And once again, the top 2 finishers last week are 1st and 2nd place. Kennington just has not been able to close this gap to the 38 of Newman over these laps. Stewart has been a lot cleaner than the 81 as well, of course, as we saw Kennington get the fence. Top 3 under a blanket here on lap number 56. Jimmy Johnson in that 48, right on the back bumper of the Dualt Ford. Right on his back bumper out of turn 4. Biffle drops off a little bit. Johnson trying to go to the bottom. Contact! Little bit of a bumper-to-bumper move by Jimmy Johnson trying to get past Matt Kenseth for the lead. He might have remembered last week and through 3 and 4. Johnson with the bump and run in turn 1. He moves into the race lead. It's been just an absolutely monumental run for this 48 car over the last couple of weeks, and he continues to serve up good runs. And with the bumper to Kenseth in turn 1, a little bit of classic action here in North Wilkesboro. He moves past the 17 and up into first. Biffle taking a look on his teammate, and he gets the nose there for second place, side by side between the 16 and 17 car out of turn number 2. And Biffle moves past Kenseth into second place. Kenseth starting to disappear a little bit on the longer run. Kennington still hounding the back bumper of Newman for 5th. Top 6 cars have absolutely left the rest of the field for dead. Especially that top 3. Though Stewart and the rest of this gang starting to close up a little bit on the race leaders. 42 and the 81 potentially geared up for the longer run in this race. Slowly closing on halfway here from North Wilkesboro. Another car on pit road. That is the one of Ron Hornaday Jr. down the pit lane. No other cars in the pits once again, looking like another damage repair stop. Pretty considerable amount of damage on the right side of that one car. Would like to review whenever that incident may have occurred. Appears it was potentially on lap number 52. Never mind. Couldn't quite see the damage there. And there you see Todd Bodine in pit road as well. A lot of strung out pit stops over the course of this race. Seeming like it was scheduled for the 77 though. No elongated stop for damage repair. So potentially might see some green flag pit stops. Not quite sure just yet. Biffle in the 16. Trying to close that gap to Jimmy Johnson, make a move on the 48 for first. These two have broken away from Kenseth, who is dropping into the clutches of the 42 of Stewart. And there you saw DJ Kennington past the 38 of Newman and into 5th. Once again, a singular position separates the 42 and the 81. Might be just one spot, but Kennington's got a lot of racetrack between him and the 42, but he's carried considerable speed in this race. And again, Stewart has to finish in front of Kennington to ensure that Saturday qualifying is not going to decide his ability to race for the championship. He wishes he could finish further up front to give himself a better chance. But it's going to take some issues for this 81 car if Stewart wants to have a better shot at this championship. Traffic up the road for the race leaders Jimmy Johnson and Greg Biffle. That's the 08 of Johnny Sauter, the first car on the racetrack. Biffle still looking for a way to get around that 48 for P1. Stewart also looking to try and find a way around Kenseth for the third spot. Gave him a look in turn one there, no avail. Comes the traffic for Johnson, the race leader. And one car, Ron Hornaday Jr. loses an engine, and that is going to be our third yellow flag of tonight's race. So Johnson and Biffle take the caution. And we are under yellow flag once more. And Johnson, the 48, is going to stay out. See if he pits in on the second lap, but Biffle and the rest of the field come in, and Johnson stays on the racetrack. Rest of the cars staying out are all lap cars that had already come down pit road under this yellow under the green flag run before this yellow flag. So Biffle and Kenseth first into the pits. See what the move is here for Johnson. That is an interesting call. Right at the halfway mark, this yellow comes out. Kennington leaving the pits. A little bit of contact with Kane entering the pit lane, but didn't seem too rough, and he is going to leave pit road. First four leave pit road in order. And Johnson, yeah, 48 stays out. Lucky Dog will be the number 23. Who was on pit road right as the yellow flag came out. A lot of damage on that 23 car. Not exactly sure where that came from, actually. And seems to have had it for quite a while, too. Actually believe that was probably from the initial incident that took place that took out the second yellow flag. But nonetheless, Jimmy Johnson, 48 car, is your race leader as he takes away that, or holds on to that first spot, stays out under this yellow flag. So he is going to be the leader. We'll take it to intermission here from North Wilkesboro. Number 48 in first. It's NASCAR on ESPN. Back from intermission here at North Wilkesboro, and you're not going to believe this. You see it there on the top of your screen. Jimmy Johnson did eventually come down pit road 2 laps after the initial pit window. The 48 brings it in. And Johnson very well might lose some time, maybe even a lap, with the damage on his race car here as we're coming to the green this time. Greg Biffle stays out, takes away the lead. Johnson is away. But the 16 to Biffle takes the lead. It's him, Kenseth, Tony Stewart, DJ Kennington, and then Justin Allgaier. Your top 5 on the restart here, coming out of turn 4 into the box. And the green flag is going to fly, and we are underway here as we race off towards 1. So interesting strategy call there from Johnson. Comes down pit road a couple laps late. Gotta wonder what Chad Knaus was planning there. DJ Kennington almost got taken side by side by the 0-2 of Allgaier, who got aggressive on the start but couldn't quite keep the nose underneath of him. Kennington leaving a lot of bottom open there, but we are up to speed. Biffle out to first. Stewart finding some headway here. Might have a chance to contend up front, but he's got Kennington knocking at his door behind. And this is a big deal for this championship here. Top 4 starting to pull away with the damaged 0-2 car in 5th. Not really a lot of opportunity for Kennington to drop backwards in benefit of Stewart, as I believe Kenseth just got the wall there in turn 2. Just a little bit of a brush. Kenseth dropping back to Stewart and Kennington. The 81 taking a look on Stewart here going into turn 1. Tony covers him off. Ooh, and a wreck on the backstretch. And the caution is going to come out. 4th yellow flag. I believe it involved Leffler and the 89 of Morgan Shepherd. So we're under caution again. Looking like a pretty big hit. And definitely a lot of damage for the 89. Just appears to have been Morgan Shepherd who got out of line, and Keselowski chased him up the racetrack and spun him out. Pretty hard hit there for Morgan Shepherd into the inside wall. Actually, no, it was Keselowski coming back onto the track where he appears to have... Actually, Leffler appeared to have been pitting, and Keselowski got into him, couldn't get around the double seeker, and spun him out. What a bizarre incident. So we're under yellow flag again. No further pitters. Greg Biffle, the race leader. So we'll take it back to intermission. 4th yellow flag of the night here from North Wilkesboro. Biffle and Kenseth, 2 race leaders. And we are going to go to intermission here from NASCAR on ESPN. It is a Sirius old-fashioned Brawl 400, and we will be right back once more. Back from intermission here at North Wilkesboro as we get set to go green. Biffle and Kenseth still 1st and 2nd. Tony Stewart in the 42 going to restart in 3rd. Kennington 4th. And now it's Ryan Newman's 38 car who rounds out the top 5 as we come into turns 3 and 4 for the restart. The 61 laps to go on the restart here for Biffle in the 16 as he leads the field out of 4. Green flag is in the air and we are back underway again. Kennington and Stewart both getting a little antsy on the restart. 42 trying to block that 81 of Kennington on the restarts. It's the 38 of Newman did not get off to a good start. So no challenge out back for Kennington. Bit of a stack up. Kenseth, is he going to try the move on his teammate? He is. Stewart locks up and yields the inside to Kennington. Here comes the 81 on the bottom. Almost contact between the championship leaders. Stewart way up the racetrack. Stewart trying to close the door on Newman. He couldn't do it. And now Kennington is in a position right now to clinch the championship if he stays where he is. And Stewart, once again on a restart, hemorrhaging positions. Disaster on back-to-back weekends for Stewart on a restart. That is exactly what Kennington wanted, and Stewart well out of the picture now. I cannot believe it. Kennington again on these restarts. And Stewart again falling backwards on these restarts. Stewart trying to regroup, but he has lost a considerable amount of time and several positions. Kennington challenging Kenseth for the second spot on the racetrack right now. And again, that 81 is now in a position to clinch this championship. Stewart back up into 6th, past Scott Riggs in the 57. Closing up on the final third here in North Wilkesboro. Just a couple more circuits and it'll be inside 50 to go. Kennington potentially closing up on that 2007 championship. Stewart's in a position to where he could get back up to at least a spot behind Kennington. But again, if Kennington gains any points on Stewart, first off, it'll be a nigh impossibility for Stewart to still win the championship next week, and he would have to win the pole in order for that to be the case. But if Kennington is 2 or more positions in front of Stewart, the championship is over. And that's not considering the fact neither of these guys have bonus points today. If Kennington leads a lap, that makes it even more impossible for that 42 car. And Kennington is dangerously close to getting a lap led here tonight. Just 2 spots separate Kennington from the lead. Biffle still in first. Kenseth second. 2 Roush cars, P1 and P2. 3 of the top 5 are Fords. The other 2 are both Chevrolets, Robbie Gordon and DJ Kennington. Stewart is just starting to run out of steam on this run. He's closed up to Robbie Gordon, but hasn't quite been able to get around that 31 car yet for that 5th position. Giving it some thought, but he hasn't quite been able to make that move stick yet. Once again, has got to get within a spot of Kennington, and Kennington cannot lead a lap or win this race. Morgan Shepherd comes in to get the last of his damage fixed. Top 3 under a blanket. Kenseth maybe locking up a little bit, sliding that left front tire. Kennington almost got underneath him there. Wasn't quite able to make it happen. Robbie Gordon up the track. That opens the door for Stewart to try and make up a position. He's getting backed up by Ryan Newman now. And he is going to be forced to give the bottom up to Stewart. Side by side for 5th. And Tony Stewart up another place back into the top 5. Kenseth really getting defensive of that bottom line against Kennington. You have to imagine helping out his teammate a little bit. 17 has dropped off of that 16 over the last couple of laps. Stewart is starting to close in again. And moved into 5th. It's going to be 40 to go this time. And you have to think that championship is all but over, even if Stewart finishes the spot behind Kennington. Again, he's got to get the pole to even stay in the championship fight. 24 car, Jeff Gordon's losing an engine. And that is going to bring out another yellow flag. Caution flies for the 5th time in tonight's race. And once again, things are going to get dicey as we'll be having another restart. Biffle coming around for the yellow flag. And we are under caution once again. Jason Leffler, the lucky dog. And we are going to see another round of pit stops. Biffle leading Kenseth in. Inside the final 50 laps here from North Wilkesboro, and it is once again going to be another big pit stop. Let's see what the 81 and the 42 crews have in the tank. 2 tires at least. And it will be 4. Kennington off the jack. Gonna have to hold for Newman. He is away behind Robbie Gordon. Meanwhile, up front, Stewart off the jack. And he had to hold for Kennington. So both of them down position. Stewart behind even further. And a long hold for Biffle gives Kenseth the lead. So the 17 will move into first place here in North Wilkesboro. We are back under caution again. It's the 17 once more in first. The inside 35 to go when we go green. It's NASCAR and ESPN here from the Sirius Old Fashioned Brawl 400, and we will be right back. Back from intermission, set to go green, as Matt Kenseth will lead the field to the restart here, with just 33 laps to go here for North Wilkesboro. Ryan Newman in the second position. Robbie Gordon is third. DJ Kennington, a pretty advantageous spot. He's in fourth. It's Kyle Busch in fifth. Shane Meal will restart in sixth, and Tony Stewart in the seventh position in that 42. It is do or die for Stewart in this championship hunt. He's hoping something goes wrong for Kennington, hoping he can cut through the field on this restart. It was a bad start for the 42 last time, got caught napping a little bit, and that cost him that front-running position in front of Kennington. Kenseth leads the field out of 4. Green flag back in the air as we race off towards turn 1. Kennington, a real slow start. Busch couldn't get under him. Stewart forced up the racetrack as Justin Allgaier gets underneath of him. Another bad start for Stewart. Biffle forces him up the track again, but Kennington's on the top as well. Robbie Gordon gets the wall in front of the 81. Both of the championship leaders up the track. Stewart found a way to the bottom. Kennington maybe just put a bit of the bumper to the back of the 31. Allgaier and Shane Meal side by side in front of Stewart, who ends up locking up and goes up the track. But Biffle can't get underneath of him. Kennington's got a 3-car buffer to Stewart with 30 to go. Kyle Busch in the wall in front of Kennington. Newman and Kenseth starting to pull away. Almost contact between Kyle Busch and Kennington. 43 getting aggressive. Kennington passed him. 4 cars between him and Tony Stewart now. Things looking dire for that 42. Johnson almost got underneath of that 42 car. It was just looking like he might not have the stuff here tonight. Kenseth pulling away in the lead, trying to win back-to-back. Stewart underneath of Allgaier in turn 1. Pushing every ounce of grip he has out of those good years. And he moves past Allgaier into 7th place. Still got to make headway to Kennington. "25 laps to go here from North Wilkesboro." Newman falling out of frame as Kenseth is starting to run away with the lead. Shane Meal hard into the wall in turn 2. That gives up another spot to Stewart, who moves to 6th. Kyle Busch in the wall again. Robbie Gordon moves underneath the 43. These two have been at each other's throats for 4th, which is allowing Stewart to close up. Still side by side for P4. Stewart joins the fight, but he is not quite underneath the Kyle Busch yet. But I think this 43, yeah, he's going to have to stick high because of Robbie Gordon on the bottom, so that opens the door for Stewart down low. Championship isn't quite over yet. If Stewart finishes a single position behind Kennington, it mostly is. Stewart is just praying something goes wrong on that 81 car. The restarts have been the Achilles heel for Stewart these last couple of races. It'll be 20 laps to go this next time by here from Wilkesboro. Kennington does have another spot potentially in front of him in the form of Newman. Kenseth absolutely disappearing out of the windshield here for Newman. Stewart's got one more spot in front of him, and Kennington with a potential position as well. '81 closing the gap. Stewart on the back bumper of Robbie Gordon for the 4th position. Do either Kennington or Stewart have one more pass left in them? Do things stay clean for both the 42 and the 81 to the end of this race? Running out of time for both things to go wrong and things to change. Newman's pulling away from Kennington, trying to make one final dash at Kenseth for the potential win. Stewart up to the back bumper of Robbie Gordon. Still no move from the 42. Robbie Gordon opening a little gap to Stewart while Kennington has once again closed up on the back of Ryan Newman. Does Kennington make anything happen for this 2nd position and seal up this championship? He's already in position to seal it right now, but Newman has given him the opportunity for one more spot. Robbie Gordon has held off Stewart. Kyle Busch hard into the wall, but stays on the racetrack. And Kennington underneath him, Newman. And he's gotten past the 38 for the 2nd position. That very well may be the championship. $11 to go at the stripe, and Kennington has put another car between him and Tony Stewart. Busch again in the wall. Jimmy Johnson moving past the 43 for the 6th position. Meanwhile, Kenseth all by himself out front, 10 laps to go. Lap count winding away here from North Wilkesboro. Traffic ahead for Kenseth. That is the 89 of Morgan Shepherd. Past him, really nobody. Kennington hasn't quite been able to pull away from this 38 of Newman just yet, and Robbie Gordon and Stewart are faster than the both of them at the moment. Things aren't quite over just yet. And Newman got underneath the Kennington. Side by side for the 2nd spot, and Kennington drops another position. Stewart isn't very close to the 31 of Robbie Gordon, but the 31 of Robbie Gordon is close to Kennington. He's found himself in a little bit of a mess. This thing isn't over just yet. 5 to go at the line. Kennington is still in position to clinch this championship. And he's got a run on Newman down the backstretch. Does he make a move into 3? He does not. And in fact, he pushed tight. Here comes Robbie Gordon. Side by side for the 3rd position down the front stretch. And Stewart has got one chance left. Tony down to the bottom of the racetrack. Kennington trying to block him. Here they come. Out of turn 4. Stewart looking to the bottom side. And he does get underneath of him. With just 3 laps to go, Stewart puts Kennington back behind him. Can Stewart close up on the 31 of the 38 with just 2 to go? Try and make up one more spot. They've got a lap car in front. Kennington trying to close out this championship. White flag waving for Matt Kenseth. One to go here in Wilkesboro. Headed down the backstretch and into turn 3 for the final time. Matt Kenseth breaks the floodgates open, and the 17 takes back-to-back victories, and Tony Stewart finds a way to keep the championship alive into Homestead. 4th place for Stewart, and Kennington comes home 5th. Unbelievable conclusion. Stewart is hanging on to this championship by a thread. But Matt Kenseth, back-to-back victories, and he wins it here in Wilkesboro. But that'll do it for coverage here from North Wilkesboro as Matt Kenseth in the 17 car wins his 2nd straight event, takes home the checkers here in North Wilkesboro as the Cup Series returns to this fabled racetrack. Next week, we finish off the 2007 season. It'll be the Ford Championship Weekend 500 held in Homestead, Miami. As we conclude this season, Stewart just barely keeps his championship hopes alive as he scores just 5 more points in Kennington here in North Wilkesboro, but he's going to need a bad weekend from the 81 next time out in Homestead. That'll do it here from North Wilkesboro. We'll catch you next time as we head to race number 36 next week and finish off this 2007 season. I've been your host, Caden Reif. It's been a pleasure to have you along as always, and we will see you next time, and have yourself a good one.